Yingzong handles our product management. He is the head of, is it the head of product management? VP of product management. Welcome, VP of product.
No management at the back.
Oh, okay. Welcome to our employee spotlight video. Today we have Yingzong, also known as YZ. YZ is the head of product. YZ, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Damn it! Welcome to our team spotlight video. I don't want to take up your time. YZ, could you share a little bit about yourself to our audiences and community?
Yeah, I manage product management in the company across the different verticals that we have, working very closely with product management, designers, engineers, right, to just allow the company to ship great products that we have for the past 3 years.
What made you become a product manager? Because you manage products.
Yeah, I think product management is not really something that people understand very well because there's no such discipline in school. There's no such, it's not a very common thing such as like engineering where it's a very fixed sort of like field where people all understand. But I sort of found myself in between where the business sat, meaning understanding customers, understanding business impact, revenue. But I also found myself to really enjoy understanding the technicalities and the complexity of things, right? So I started in a startup back in college days. So my friend who was the co-founder then, he called me up and he was like, hey, we want to understand, we want to have a product management role in the company, right? Do you want to take it on? I was like, what's that? He was like, I think you'll be great for the role. Just come on and try it out. So that was really my first foray into product management. And then sort of over time, really trying to also figuring out, providing more definition for myself and for the people around me, right? Similar to actually what I'm doing with the company, also educating everyone about what product management is. And over time, learning from the materials. I mean, Google started this idea of product management. So really learning a lot from the source, right? And just learning from all the best practices, and over time, just solidified that foundation, that understanding, which I guess brought me to today.
Oh, okay. So there was nothing you studied to become a product manager. It was more of an experience on the job.
Yeah.
That brought you into this.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, product managers come from so many different backgrounds, right? You can have product managers coming from design, product managers coming from the engineering background. You can have people who come from business, right? Like myself, I come from the business background.
Oh, that's
I learned sort of design and engineering on the go, on the job. Yeah, so you can really have many variations. Again, it really depends on the need of the role as well, right? Some really demands the product manager to be like an engineering based person because it's highly technical, but some others you don't really need that.
What do you enjoy most out of your job?
I love talking to everyone in the company. I think the idea of firstly being able to uncover the problem and then find solutions for them, but making sure that you're not coming up with something that nobody else cares for or nobody else understands, right?
Yeah.
I think it's the entire process, right? So working together with there's so many cool people in the company, so many talented individuals in the company to say, hey, this is a problem that we have today. How do we think we can best solve this? I think that's also part of the role of what a product manager would be doing to facilitate this solution discovery, right? And then moving into sort of the execution phase. So once you get everyone aligned and everyone's like, okay, that's a great idea, right? For example, for all the different products that we had previously, right? And then making sure that the team understands what's the vision and then execute it.
So actually, before you start a product, you're pulling people in from different directions and saying, what do you think of this? Would you use this?
Because product, it will be, I would say, naive to build products in silo. Meaning, if we don't understand what our customers want, we don't understand what the business needs, we don't understand what the industry, where the industry is moving towards, right? It would be pointless. I can today build, I don't know, let's say a paper shredder, right? I could, the engineering team, probably some of them can do that. But would that fit our landscape today? Maybe not, right? So it really is that bringing all that different needs and different voices into that conversation. And again, I guess if we can drive it back to the business is, what is the business objective? Where do we want to go as a company? How do we want to serve our customers? And then from those statements, then we can derive their different ideas, uncover the different problems. Because you also need to know where to look. Problems are everywhere, but doesn't mean we solve all of them.
Would you say that there are any struggles in doing so?
Oh, definitely. I think everyone has a different perception or a different idea of what the problem is.
Yeah.
We have grown so much in this endeavor across the past year, like one odd year that I've been here, right? So really understanding, crystallizing this sort of like alignment and understanding of what the problem that we are facing and we are fixing. This sort of minimizes that problem that I raised where people have a different idea of what the problem is. So we are minimizing that, but definitely there will still be some different opinions on, okay, I don't really think this is the problem. Or once we agree on the problem, then I don't really agree on maybe this is the solution that would solve the problem.
Right.
But that's fine because that's where healthy sort of like, discussion comes in, brainstorming comes in, right?
Yeah.
And then there are so many ways to solve that sort of like, I would say, disagreement, right?
Yeah.
And that's true. Maybe we can experiment, we can look at data, we can speak to customers. There's so many ways to validate. It doesn't mean one answer is right. So we just test everything out. And I think that is also one thing that product managers, it's meant to do, is really to find sort of like that sweet spot, right? Based on all the different opinions and the different ideas. How can we best validate them in the cheapest way, fastest way possible? And then doubling down on the one that is right, and then we just go all the way.
That's cool though. So when you guys brainstorm, are you all fighting with each other and throwing stuff around? Does it feel like the UK Parliament?
Okay, not so much of that. Not so much. Generally, everything is very civil. But I would say, yeah, definitely sometimes when we have brainstorming sessions and we make it a point to really like cast everything, like put everything outside the door, right? When we go into the room, we make sure that the point of this discussion is to find a solution for said problem.
Oh, so you come in with a problem.
Yes, we come in with a problem. If the issue here is to uncover a problem, then that's a different story. I would say most of the time we spend thinking about solutions.
Okay.
So if we think about solution, then it's really coming in and then really just throwing everything out. Poking holes, being devil's advocate and see, okay, does that make sense? Does it not make sense?
So now if I take this and put this picture into the crypto space, do you see a different kind of struggle being in the crypto space?
I think primarily because it's such a fast-moving industry.
Yeah.
Okay, I would take a step back from the crypto space, look at it from a Web 3 and Web 2 kind of space, right? So I think Web 2 is something that we are all familiar with. We've been familiar with that for maybe 20 years now, 20 plus years now. I would say Web 3 is something that is very new.
Yeah.
And so there is always this sort of like crisis, identity crisis or transitioning like issue sometimes that we face. Sort of understanding how would that Web 2 convention apply for Web 3? How would the traditional convention or the ways that we used to apply to how products would work today, how would customers interact with them today, right? Because there are so many things, especially in DeFi, for example, that seeks to try to also present some of that opportunities in a new way, right? But how do you shape that for people who are used to the previous convention?
Or are you saying that because the innovations are constantly changing, you have to also get customers to adapt to these?
Exactly. It's a two-way thing, right? It's either you get customers to adapt or you go to where the customer is, right? So I wouldn't say it's binary. I would say it's really a good balancing act. For example, when iPhone first came about and you have the calculator, right? The calculator, until today actually, it still looks like a calculator, a traditional one, right? So that's I think what they call skeuomorphism. Right, and that is
skeuomorphism.
Skeuomorphism. Yes, skeuomorphism. So that's how they try to.
Skeuomorphism.
Yeah.
How do you explain this?
It's basically to help you understand how, to help you adapt and bridge across the older previous convention to the newer one. They sort of try to retain as many similar characteristics.
Okay.
To sort of again to keep that mental models intact.
Right.
Yeah.
Simplify it to what you already know.
Correct. So like typewriter, right? How typewriter was and how our keyboard is today. Exactly the same story, right? The keyboard technically doesn't have to be the same way it is. Like it doesn't have to be this QWERTY keyboard. It technically, if you wanted to, you can have A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Right.
But the reason why the typewriters in the past did that is because, it's limitations that it had. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. I never knew that about the QWERTY keyboard.
Yeah.
Came from limitations of the typewriter.
Exactly. So some limitations then became innovations, if you know what I mean. So it's always this, going back to the question of what is the challenge or is there an added challenge in the crypto industry?
Yeah.
It's super fast moving. So we also need to always be mindful about how our customers, how our users are thinking about the product, right?
Okay.
How do they feel about the product? Because if it's something that is so new and so edgy, then they wouldn't be able to understand.
So I love that passion that you had. I want to understand the hardest product that you've had to create for Cake.
I would say, honestly, the hardest one, and I'll explain why later, it would be the earn product, right? I think it has seen a lot of success. A lot of community members, customers love that product, even though it's only been around for a very short while.
I love it too. I use Bitcoin right now.
Yeah. So why it's hard, right? I wouldn't say it's complex. I said it's hard because fundamentally, under the hood, the product is actually extremely. The core idea of the product is simple, right? But then within, because of like blockchain complexities and all that nuances that is involved with understanding decentralized finance, right? Like liquidity mining and things like that. How then the problem statement was, how do we present this complexity, this sort of like web of like nuances into an experience, into a product that customers can easily understand and be like, okay, let me just click on that and I'm done, right? So
Right.
it's really how, again, wrapping that all that complexity, removing all those things that maybe customers don't really need to understand or need to see,
Right.
while again balancing with the whole idea of transparency, right? Being transparent, but making sure that that experience that we deliver to them is something that is crisp, something that they can easily understand, so that they will be very happy to use the product and then to earn use from it. So I think it's a lot of like also tuning how this product would mean, and also making sure that, again, back to the complexity portion, right? Because I think in terms of engineering complexity, blockchain complexity, there's something that
Right.
a product manager in crypto can never escape, right?
Right.
But what our job is to shield everyone else from that complexity.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So, so it's really okay. Now that we know, we are aware of all these things that has to happen in order for users to get into, let's say, BTC earn. What must be done and abstracted away from them? Yeah, I would say that was the journey that kind of took us a while to get to. But now with that, I think it has also strengthened a lot of our muscles in thinking about abstracting the complexity, because Cake DeFi as a company is not about giving you the most forward-looking blockchain product, right? Because that is probably more for those people who are extremely expert in the field, right? What we are is really to simplify that access into DeFi, into Web3 for our customers, being that gateway. So how do we do that? Yeah.
What would you say that is a product on Cake that you use the most yourself, personally?
I actually use a lot of the staking products because I also interact with different blockchain protocols. I guess part of the job for me is to be able to then be able to go to the extreme end of the technology and be that user in the decentralized world, and then coming back to CDeFi. With Cake DeFi, you are able to simplify or break down that investment. You don't have to go with a high initial lump sum, right? You just whatever amount that you're comfortable with, enter it, and then there you go. You can enjoy the same type of reward, same type of benefits as what a person who stakes on the blockchain does, but in a much more minimized fashion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the staking products are your favorite?
Yeah.
I mean, on your
I thought
investments.
that's the coolest.
This is a quick question because I know a lot of people misunderstand this about product managers, and multiple times you've had to correct me. Do product managers need to know coding?
Not all. I would say not all, right? It again depends on the specific role that you're in. Let's say if you're in a much more, there are a few product management positions. Of course, there are technical product management. Then there is also more of the growth product management, where you look more into the business side of things. You don't need to code, that's for sure. Product managers don't need to code. But you need to be able to appreciate the technical complexities and the engineering challenges that they face. So, for example, if today we want to throw this product out, right, and it has to, when customers deposit the funds, they have to go through step A, B, C, finally into D, right? We need to know from step B to step C to step D, what are the things that the engineers would face that could potentially be a blocker for us when we deliver the product, right? let's say, oh, hey, there would be, let's say, a database issue, right? It would be unscalable for us to do it this way. Then we as product managers need to be able to spot that as soon as we can and be able to anticipate those kind of like challenges and maybe pivot the team into a different direction. Or even be able to throw ideas, right, back to the engineering team to say, what if we did this instead, something else instead?
Right, you need to know the technical
Correct.
space.
You need to understand that, appreciate that, but you don't actually need to code. But learning how to code, understanding the code is always a shorthand for understanding the complexity.
How big is the Cake DeFi tech team currently?
The tech team in general, I would say we are close to 80 to 100 now.
80 to
I don't have a fixed number because I think everyone within the tech team, it's a huge term, right? It covers designers, engineers, product managers, and that is like essentially that building part of the company.
Right.
And without a huge workforce to build for the company, for our customers, then there's nothing to sell. Yeah, so it's a lot of this work because I mean we also have other verticals. We work on R&D to understand what is the latest trends, what are the new things that are coming up, and how can that translate to the other business units, for example, Cake DeFi on the retail side. So yeah, it's a huge team.
Okay, 80 to 100. Then are you guys looking for new product managers, engineers, tech?
Always, we are always
Designers.
looking. Yeah. We are a company that is growing so quickly, right? Quickly in terms of our customer demands, quickly also in terms of the innovations and opportunities that we want to capture. So when these opportunities come up, then that's definitely reasons why we need to continue building the team. I think also as a transitioning from a startup to a scale up, there are a lot of processes or structures within the company that needs to be that we need to sort of like have a baseline on. So now I think we are somewhere near that baseline, but I think there's always that room for growth for us.
So what do you look for in a new hire?
I think generally some of the attributes that can never be discounted for a product manager would be someone who is entrepreneurial. I don't mean that by saying you have founded a startup or whatever, like that's fine, right? But someone who is resourceful enough or curious enough to want to try new things on his own, right? It could be starting a small project with his friends, with his ex-colleague, or even starting a business of his own, right? Because when you're in that position, then it gives you that opportunity, that sense of hunger to want to learn different things, to understand how to best make things work. So this, especially in where Cake DeFi is today, that is extremely important, right? Because again, as I said at the start, product management is about connecting all these stakeholders within a company, outside of the company. So if the person working on any product cannot understand the perspective of the different stakeholders, for example, if I can't understand what marketing wants, I can't understand what sales wants, there's no way I can deliver something that fits their needs. So that I would say entrepreneurship is a prerequisite. I think it's also this huge sense of ownership, right? Ownership in many ways, ownership in terms of your own progress, your own learning, right? Because things are always changing, right? If you sort of like stop for a few seconds in the crypto world, you essentially are behind. So how can you find someone that's hungry enough to really want to understand these things and then contribute, share it with the team, and really build it out this way that it creates this sense of like product management culture that everyone is excited about, because everyone comes in knowing that, oh hey, my peer here is also like trying to push us to the next frontier, to the next limit, right? So how can I do that to sort of level each other up? That's really the thing that I always look out for in people, right? It's really about understanding how people can level and raise the bar, right? Because we never hire down, we always hire up. So even when hiring someone in my team, I always make sure that person has someone that has some attributes that are much better than I do. And that's something that is important, and I think that's something that everyone in the team must embody as well.
As someone who is, is coming from a business background, do you have any tips and tricks for someone who wants to start their career in crypto or tech?
Be extremely curious, don't be lazy. I think what I mean by don't be lazy is there are so many opportunities in terms of contributing to projects out there, thinking about how you can partner with someone to maybe just get something out, right? Because if you want to get into the scene and you don't have prior experience, then I think the best way for you to prove that, prove your passion, prove your abilities is to just show that you're willing to get up the seat and then find an opportunity, work with someone, and then get something out and see how that goes. It doesn't matter if that thing fails, right? It's all about what have you learned from it and how did you plan to bring that forward based on whatever lessons you've learned. So I think it's really even in the tech space, a lot of open source projects, blockchains are, the whole point of Web3 and blockchain is about being open, right? Being transparent. So you as a contributor, you can contribute to any community, any blockchains, any projects in any way that you want. So there's really nothing stopping you from doing that.
Do you enjoy our company culture?
Of course.
What do you enjoy about it?
I think I always share this with people outside the company who ask me this question, right? The coolest thing about the company, and to me, what stands for quality is if it's consistent. Like, it shouldn't be like a blip and, the culture is good this week. No, it's not that, right? So when I first joined, I think I was a 70-something employee, right? Today we are at 160 over. That's more than twice when I joined. And I can say that the culture that when I entered into the company, the culture was this, and then 1+ year later, with more than twice the amount of manpower after, it's pretty much the same, right? If not improved. Meaning, when I first came in, I felt this environment was such a collaborative one. It is extremely forgiving in a sense of being open to making mistakes and learning from it, right? I think that experimental mindset, that notion of failing forward, I think that is something that is very strong in the tech team, and I highly appreciate that. And I don't think that has changed actually in the past year. And always remembering our roots, right? Of being resourceful, of being scrappy. I think that's something that sort of pulls everyone together.
Okay, so resourcefulness is one of your favorite.
Yeah, I love it.
Last question. Can you give us a glimpse into Cake DeFi's future?
Wow. Of course. Cake DeFi's future is, I think, getting more and more exciting. I would say even getting more and more clarity as we go, because of, obviously with what is happening in the industry, right? Understanding, all the ups and downs, but knowing that we are that anchor, we are that sort of like that core that maintained throughout this turbulent environment. I think that sort of gave us a lot of insight into how our future might look like, and that also crystallized what our mission is, right? I think the mission for Cake is really to empower our customers to achieve or control their financial destiny, and I think that can manifest in so many ways. And the question then is, how can we tap on Web3 and DeFi to really allow them to control their destiny? Today we are thinking about some sort of wealth creation, but can that expand beyond just that point? Can that expand into other stages of a person's life stages, right? It could be, right? So what I'm saying here is, with a very strong and very focused mission, it can bring us anywhere as long as there's possibilities.
Going into someone's life, becoming a daily part of their life, is that what you're?
That's one thing, right? Being daily, that's, I think, the means to an end. I think what we really can be is if we truly allow our customers to be able to control their financial destiny. And what does destiny mean, right? Destiny, I think it's not just about financial freedom. It's also having that sense of control, maybe that ability to influence the next generation, for example.
Oh, generational wealth?
Maybe, for example.
Okay.
And all these things, right, these are not new concepts. They have been around for the longest time. But then the question is, how can we use Web3 and DeFi and the latest sort of development innovations to do that in a much more transparent way, in a way that gives the power to the customers?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, YZ.
Welcome.
So if you like this video with YZ and you took something away from it, please give us a like, a subscribe, or leave a comment. And I'm sure YZ will take a look and respond back personally.
That's for sure.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much. Stay tuned for the next Team Spotlight. Bye!